The laughter echoed across the school hallway like daggers slicing through silence. Sarah Miller, the quiet farm girl with mud-stained boots and secondhand clothes, kept her head down as the popular kids jeered. "Hey, cowgirl, did you milk the cows before class?" One boy snickered, flicking straw at her hair. Another girl covered her nose dramatically, whispering loud enough for everyone to hear, "Careful, she probably smells like the barn." The group erupted in cruel laughter while Sarah clutched her worn-out backpack tighter, her knuckles pale against the straps. She didn't fight back. She never did. Not with words, not with fists. Instead, she walked silently toward her classroom, each mocking word pressing against her chest like a weight she couldn't set down. Sarah was used to it, being invisible, being the easy target. What they didn't know, what no one knew, was that every evening after farm chores, Sarah disappeared into a world no one imagined for a girl like her. On the surface, Sarah's life was nothing but hardship. Her father had passed away years ago, leaving her and her mother to run the family farm. Every day began before dawn with feeding livestock, hauling hay, and fixing fences. While other teenagers scrolled through their phones or hung out at the mall, Sarah's hands were blistered from work. The farm was both her prison and her anchor, teaching her discipline, strength, and grit. But hidden deep in that routine was something else, something that kept her alive. Sarah trained. In the old barn, beside the creaking wood beams and the smell of hay, her late father's boxing bag still hung from the rafters. Her dad, once an amateur fighter, had taught her the basics when she was just a child. After he passed, she continued on her own. Punch after punch, kick after kick, Sarah found refuge in the rhythm of combat. It wasn't about violence, it was about control, strength, and proving to herself that she was more than the broken girl the world saw. Unknown to anyone at school, Sarah had been competing quietly in local martial arts tournaments. Not only competing, winning. She was a state-level youth champion, a fighter with trophies lined up on a dusty shelf in the farmhouse kitchen. But at school, she stayed silent. She let them laugh. Because Sarah knew something they didn't, real strength didn't need to be shown every day. One crisp autumn afternoon, everything changed. The bullies cornered her behind the gym. They were bored, restless, and saw her as their easy prey. One of the boys shoved her against the wall, sneering, "What's wrong, farm girl? Lost your tongue?" Another girl pulled Sarah's braid harshly, laughing as Sarah winced. For a moment, Sarah thought of staying quiet like always. But then she saw her mother's tired face in her mind, sacrificing everything, working day and night to keep their farm alive. She thought of her father's words echoing from memory, "Never let anyone tell you that you're less than who you are." Something inside her snapped. When the boy tried to shove her again, Sarah moved, fast. Her training took over like second nature. She sidestepped, his hand missing her shoulder, and in one fluid motion, she twisted his arm behind his back, gently but firmly, forcing him to his knees. Gasps erupted from the group. Another boy lunged at her, but Sarah didn't hesitate. One precise sweep of her leg, and he stumbled to the ground, shocked more than hurt. The hallway froze. This wasn't the quiet farm girl they thought they knew. This was someone else entirely, someone powerful, controlled, unshakable. Sarah didn't throw punches to injure. She used only what she had to defend herself. Within seconds, the bullies were on the ground or scrambling back, wide-eyed with fear and disbelief. She released the first boy and looked at them, her voice calm but steady for the first time. "I'm done being your target. Find someone else to laugh at." Silence hung heavy in the air. Nobody laughed. Nobody dared. For the first time, Sarah walked away not with her head down, but with her shoulders squared, each step echoing with quiet power. Word spread like wildfire. By the end of the week, the entire school knew. The quiet farm girl wasn't just strong, she was a champion fighter. Videos from local tournaments surfaced online, showing Sarah's medals, her precision, her determination. The bullies who once mocked her now avoided her, their cruelty replaced with respect, and maybe even shame. Teachers, classmates, and strangers began seeing her differently. Some even whispered that Sarah was braver than anyone else in the school, not because she could fight, but because she had endured so long without ever lashing out. But Sarah didn't care for the attention. For her, the victory wasn't about shutting down the bullies. It was about finally realizing her worth didn't depend on anyone else's opinion. She went home that night, walked into the barn, and hit the boxing bag until her arms shook and sweat rolled down her face. For the first time in a long while, she smiled. Life didn't suddenly become perfect. The farm was still hard work. Her mother still struggled with bills. And not everyone at school changed overnight. But Sarah had found her voice, her strength, and her place in the world. She was no longer just the farm girl. She was Sarah Miller, the fighter, the survivor, the champion. And every time she stepped into the barn to train, she remembered the lesson that carried her through it all. True strength isn't about how hard you can hit, it's about standing tall when the world tries to tear you down.